Hey, this is D Night.
This is Ty.
And Carol's in bed sleeping, which is apropos because, of course, anyone who should be on this podcast would probably rather be in bed. But you're listening to the Party Insurrection podcast, where we don't take AK-47s to the golf course, unlike Trump fans. So, it's been an up and down week, of course, since the debate last week where Trump got his ass handed to him by Kamala Harris. She's got her post-debate bump somewhere around a little over a point in improvement in terms of approval rating in the public polls. And Trump has since lost a little less than one of the...
I read today that she's outside of the margin of error.
Yeah.
I mean, I know it's distracting and we're not supposed to pay attention to the polls, but I do like to see her. And I see that in Iowa, she closed like a 16 or 18 point gap and she's like only down by 4. Yeah.
So I take the polls. We talk about this on the next podcast, I guess, in greater detail. But generally speaking, I take the polls with a grain of salt. But I do like if there's movement in the polls and you could attach it to like a real life on the ground occurrence, you can assume that in reality, when people do turn out to vote, that it will that shift will be reflected in actual votes. It may not necessarily line up with what the polls say, but the movement is real. Polling is more for understanding what campaigns should and shouldn't do and should lean into and stay away from. It's not predictive. That's generally how they work. But, I do like watching for the movement, especially when you can attach it to some event like, I don't know, Trump getting indicted or a presidential debate or like some massive scandal and, the RNC and DNC convention, so to speak. So, that she's basically had the polls shift close to 2 points in her favor just over the course of the week. I mean, that does kind of align with what you would expect from winning a debate handily the way she did. Now, I obviously you would think with the level of insanity Trump presented on that debate stage, the polls would move a lot more than that. But again, this is America. This is a dysfunctional country that people are even making their decisions based on like a TV game show that we call the debate that's, on ABC, where the game show host asks too many 2-minute questions. I mean,
I feel like Trump has turned all of America into the Apprentice America. And we are living a reality show. And after the so-called assassination attempt, from what I read, the guy was 500 yards away. Shit, that's every other person in Florida is 500 yards away from a gunshot.
I mean, he might have been less than 500 yards away because just from the video. So they eventually released footage from a view from the stage where you could see the building where the shooter was. He was right there. That he missed him is incredible. We still don't have any explanation really.
I thought he was playing golf. I thought he was playing golf.
Oh, no. I'm sorry. So I meant from the shooting at the Trump rally.
Oh, at the rally in Butler.
Yeah, so that shooter on top of that building he was 300 and something yards or so.
Yeah, that he was there. He was super. Yeah, he was really far. But I was just thinking, I was like, do they just sit around? I feel like right now, Trump wants to keep doing something, anything to keep him in the news. Yes. And to distract from talking about the disastrous debate. And so I feel like there's somebody, I don't know if Mark Burnett is pinning this reality show, but it feels it's okay, we'll do an attempted murder, like a soap opera. Yeah. An attempted murder.
And then when it didn't work and they're like, well, let's do it again.
And let's do this. And it's so now I don't know. I feel like,
I mean, I have been making the jokes since the shooting at the Trump rally because of the fact that it did nothing for him poll-wise. I was like, well, it's probably going to try and get shot again. And here we are. Now, we don't necessarily...
No, this is the third time they tried it. Remember when he was in Arizona at the border? And then he was standing and he was interviewing with that girl from News? Who was he interviewing with? And then he was like, she asked him the question. It's like, oh, your assassination attempt on it. He goes, you want to know something? I'm in danger right now. They don't want me talking to you. And then he was like, and this see the headline, because the headline said Trump cuts interview short due to assassination, potential assassination threat or something like that. And then he was like, oh, we're in danger. I'm going to tell you, I'm going to let you in on a little secret. And I'm like, what the fuck is a Secret Service? He's sitting here, he's like, you're in danger too. So I'm going to talk to you for another 20 seconds while somebody supposedly wants to kill me without any Secret Service around. And then he just gets in, he's like, bye. And then I'm like, but it was his tone of voice. You can tell that's his acting voice because it's the same voice he uses when he goes, doctor, is there a doctor in the house? We need a medic. Take your time, doctor. Take your time.
Trump is insane. He just be begging up stuff.
It's going to be okay. Take your time.
Try and get clicks.
And I'm like, I
don't know what's wrong with them. Hey, so in case you missed it, if you're listening, there was an incident at the golf course down the street. I mean, it's practically down the street from Mar-a-Lago, Palm Beach County. Trump was at the golf course. Secret Service spotted a guy that looked suspicious. He was carrying some kind of assault rifle, seemed to be closely resembling an AK-47. I mean, obviously, it likely wasn't an AK-47, but, you know, a similar type of arm. Shots were fired by the Secret Service. I'm not necessarily sure if anyone was hit, but apparently they got the guy. People have been looking into his social media. He's another weirdo right winger, not like necessarily super pro-Trumper, but like all the bad actors on the right, aside from Trump, he seems to have been in support of, like Vivek Ramaswamy, even Tulsi Gabbard at one point. What up,
something kind of stood out to me because they're like, oh, he was a Democrat. He was pro-Ukraine. And then they said he was pro-Haitian. And I go, but this was months and months and months ago that and in my mind, I go, that is very convenient with all of this Haiti stuff going on now, because I need to know what social media he was on, because if it was X, I have zero doubt that Elmo would not be above manipulating a post and like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, so the guy is just weirdo right-wing shit. We don't really have to super get into it. I won't say his name, but I've got like a post from 2020 on here where he says, at real Donald Trump, while you were my choice in 2016, I and the world hope that President Trump would be different and better candidate, but we are all greatly disappointed, and it seems you're getting worse and devolving. Are you retarded? I will be glad when you're gone. And then there's another post in November of 2020 where he's, posts his the end of his infatuation with Trump, where he's saying at Tulsi Gabbard, hashtag stand with Tulsi for president. Kimmel may have a valid point, but what if COVID-19 does eliminate Joe Biden, Bernie, and Trump, and even Pence? Tulsi, we need to ramp up our efforts and grow support so when the field narrows to none, you can win. Let me help. And obviously...
So basically you can only win if everyone else is dead?
Yeah, but look at who he's rooting for. It's the individual that we all pointed out as a bad actor in 2020 who eventually became a Republican herself. She's on Fox News. She's helping Trump with the debate. So it's not actually that far-fetched that we have a Trump supporter turned Tulsi Gabbard supporter, and then Tulsi Gabbard goes full Trumper, and then here we are with like a Republican shooting at Trump yet again. Might want to ask why so many Republicans are shooting at Trump. And ironically, so the guy had a weapon similar to an AK-47. And, well, of course, you'll never guess who was just talking about AK-47s the day before.
How many guesses do I get?
0.
The Venezuelans have big AK-47 Supremes. There's a Supreme. Where the hell do they get these guns? Our soldiers can't get these guns.
Yeah, where the hell do they get these guns? Coming from the leader of the party who wants everyone to have an assault rifle. I wonder how that happens. As you can see, Trump is also still on his ranting and raving about Haitian immigrants in Springfield, Ohio, just to no end. Largely having debunked the rumor or the misinformation that Haitian immigrants are like eating your pets. He's still I don't know why he's still pushing that, but it did result in some bomb threats aimed at Springfield, Ohio. And when Trump was asked to announce those, well, you can hear comments for yourself.
Do you denounce the bomb threats in Springfield, Ohio?
I don't know what happened with the bomb threats. I know that it's been taken over by illegal migrants, and that's a terrible thing that happened. Springfield was this beautiful town, and now they're going through hell. It's a sad thing. Not going to happen with me, I can tell you right now.
Notice he didn't denounce the bomb threats.
Nope.
No, just kept rolling there. And the media didn't ask a follow-up question or tell him or inform him that he didn't answer the question at all. But we're informing you where his comments led to bomb threats on a town where innocent individuals live. Trump won't.
Children being terrorized and traumatized.
Right. So you see how Trump kicks it there. Now, again, this comment about the immigrants, it supposedly stemmed from like a Facebook post, and it went viral from there. And then right-wing nut jobs picked it up and ran with it all the way to the point where it reached end wokeness on Twitter. And if you know anything about that account,
I hate that account. I hate that account.
Supposedly, a couple of people have come to independent conclusions that seem to verify that account is being run by Jack, what's his name? Posobiec or something
Pizza
like
Boy?
that. Yeah, that Pizza Boy. I don't know how to pronounce his last name because I don't follow his shit. But yes, it's no surprise that once it reached that level, it was quickly going to reach the Trump campaign because, well, that's how that works. The right-wing disinformation circle, they bubble up this stuff from the ground up and they feed it to the bigger accounts, and then it gets to Trump, and then Trump feeds it back down through Fox News, and it's this vicious cycle. But like, immigrants didn't take over Springfield. What happened is the city was dying, and there was that horrific, Haiti's been just unfortunately hit with a number of mass tragedy events, and numerous immigrants were granted a temporary reprieve to come to the United States as a protected class of immigrants. A lot of them ended up going to this place in Ohio, Springfield, small town, small-ish. But what they did have was a number of factories and jobs that didn't require, stringent education. You basically just show up, get trained, do the work. And for a group of people who were willing to work, but didn't have necessarily a high level of education, it was an ideal spot. And really, they revitalized the town. They saved it. Yeah. Like having the immigrant workers show up and keep the factories open and running and high capacity as far as production goes, it kind of revitalized the town. So saying these immigrants came here illegally and then took over, it's not the case. Well, the thing
is the so-called 15 to 20,000 Haitians, they've been coming over the past few years, number one, and number two,
the past decade,
they merely replaced
the people who left.
20,000 people that left.
There you go. Bingo. So like, they're doing the jobs that the people who live there didn't want to do, practically saving the town. Yeah, you're going to have some issues when you have that many people from outside of typically born outside of the U.S. piling into a city, but it's no different than like where I live, where multiple, tens of thousands of people are coming every couple of months that are American citizens piling into our town, creating stress and demands on public services. And
the water, like where I lived in Santa Teresa, New Mexico, and they're doing all that building. And so Santa Teresa is a small place, and they're just building like gangbusters, and all these people are moving out to the upper valley. What have they done? It used to be horse farms. It was like the greenest part of El Paso. I loved going out there because they have pecan farms and horse farms. And I wasn't really fond of the cotton fields because I just feel triggered when I drive by.
Ditto.
But
no, how you
when
feel?
The water, they stopped putting it, opening the Rio Grande before it got too hot, the cotton fields all died and the people sold it. Well, it wasn't but a couple months later, and there's a big sign goes up like hotel coming. And I'm like, they did this shit on purpose. You can't sit here and plan a whole fucking development for a hotel, some apartments, a new high school in 2 months.
No, they knew they were getting them out of there.
Did not release that water.
Yeah.
And then
fucked them up.
Exactly. And then I saw
America has been playing that game for hundreds of years now. But
and then
housing,
they act like gentrification isn't a thing. Guess they never heard about that. When you have people, in communities, and then they start building up around it is a little trick they play, but increases the property value. So your house might be paid off, but boom, you got a mortgage again because your property taxes have tripled.
That happens a lot here. So I live in Nashville. If you know anything about Nashville, it's one of the most booming cities in the United States. We do have like a housing issue in terms of just like the number of available housing units for people to live in.
Yes.
Then we have all of these, and they're not illegal immigrants. They're Americans coming here and piling into our city. It causes numerous issues, but also our economy is booming thanks to the influx of people. So it's a double-edged sword. It's just
that
issues
comes with growth in general.
Yes,
you know what I mean? I said, and in my mind, I'm thinking like the original girl. So it was the girl that made the post. She heard it from her friend. Her friend heard it from a friend.
Yeah, telephone.
Who it was like fourth, fifth hand. And then she's like, well.
And it was one person who may have killed a cat.
And was arrested.
Yeah, there you go.
In another city. A black lady in another city may have killed a cat.
And we turned that into 20,000 immigrants are destroying your city and eating your pets. I mean, it's just bananas. And then the Trump is facing no real consequences for telling this bald-faced lie on the national stage of the debate and multiple times thereafter. It's just, I do hate politics in some way. I hate the media industrial complex for not
absolutely
the poor way they address this.
I mean, doing a full-on pogrom in real time.
Oh man, it's crazy. And the reason why it's working is because typically, Haitian immigrants, darker complexion,
they've always been the scapegoats now. And now JD Vance is like, HIV has exploded. And I was like, that's from the intravenous drug use of the opioid addicts in your state that you said you were going to help when you ran for office and then abandoned them.
Yeah. And Ohio does have this massive drug problem, but I mean, that's a podcast for another day.
Overdose capital of the country is in Ohio, Montgomery County.
It's not great. There's a lot of fraud going on in Ohio over the course of the past 20 years. It's not been great for the economy, and then people are out of work or making less money, and it leads to drug use and just a vicious cycle as well. Mm-hmm. But we also have a video of Trump not knowing where Haitian immigrants come from. It sounds absurd. You'll have to hear it to believe it.
And illegal Haitians, and he came in, illegal Haitian migrants taking over a beautiful place. It was so beautiful. Springfield, Ohio. I was there. I campaigned there a while ago. Springfield, it was so beautiful. Now it's just, what a place. Can you imagine you have this small little community. All of a sudden you have 20,000 illegals in your community. Nobody knows where they come from.
They come from Haiti, the country where Haitians are born.
It's just, okay. Now, you know that in 2016, Trump campaigned in Little Haiti in Florida.
Yeah.
And he spoke at the Haitian Cultural Center. And he said that he was fighting for Haitian Americans. Yeah. And he was their champion. He was going to champion for them. And some say that played a part of him winning Miami-Dade.
It
put
could
him
have.
over the top because
well, there are a number of things that might have helped contribute to that. And I think between that and, referring to Hillary Clinton as Fidel Castro might have had something to do with it.
Well, and then with the earthquake and stuff, what happened? They blamed the Clinton Foundation for. So it was, but he capitalized and he seized on that. he jumped on it. And not only that, but he hired more Haitians than anybody else to work at his resorts.
Also true. Yeah, I forgot about that. Hired a bunch of.
And not only that, this motherfucker, he tripled, his administration tripled the number of H-2B visas.
Yeah.
The most since 2007. And he petitioned the DOJ for more H-2B visas, like every year during, like to have them come. And what he was
if you
paying,
don't like Haitian immigrants in your state, Trump is partially responsible for that. So blame them. Don't blame the messenger. You blame the guy who did it. But also, like, yeah, that he capitalized on that in 2016, and now he's stabbing Haitian immigrants in the back.
He also in 2019 extended their temporary protection status, along with 250,000 El Salvadorans. In 2019, he extended it for a year, including work visas.
Yeah, and I think the Biden administration continued that extension. But yeah, Trump is like when Haitians were convenient for him, he was their champion, and now he's trying to deport them to Venezuela.
Yeah, right.
Like I don't like. Maybe he really does not know where Haiti is. I'm guessing. I have no idea. It's insane. Like this is. I don't understand how he gets away with this. What the media is doing with like,
Venezuela won't even take their own citizens back.
And now he's trying to. Yeah, did he ask Venezuela how they feel about having a bunch of Haitian immigrants and dumped on them like pogrom style if he takes power? I don't know. But he's threatening to round up every immigrant practically all over the country, whether they're here legally or not.
He says he's going to have to take over Aurora.
He's
basically has turned Aurora into the Carter Hotel in New Jack City.
So
that's
bad.
all of, he says they have taken over with their AK. So I was like, did he just watch New Jack City last night?
He might have. It's entirely possible. There's too many black people in that movie for him to finish that though. So he probably doesn't know how it is. So also I forgot about this, but apparently Laura Loomer got banned from the Trump campaign. Do you even, I don't even know why. Do you know what happened? I'm assuming.
When did that happen? Maybe because she was going around talking about her sucking his tiny shroom.
All right, so it happened. What's today? Oh, so today is Sunday. I believe this was Friday, where it was reported that Laura Loomer was banned from the Trump jet.
I love that for her.
Yeah, so apparently Trump is distancing himself from her after he was just hugging on her, like at one of his rallies or something. I have no idea what's going on with the inner workings of this. I would imagine that she's likely getting blamed for his poor debate performance. And this is what happens when you support Trump. You hop on the bandwagon, you try and, win over his favor. And then the second he's done with you, you get tossed away and just, I mean, they're never going to learn. They're never going to learn. Yeah. It's unfortunate. And then they're all weird in the pictures together. Like, he
probably charged her to fly on his plane.
I don't. Was it the Epstein plane that he rented? So look, I have this thing. I don't have a concern when people are in other people's physical space in a way that seems overly familiar, generally speaking, because, if you work together with people over the course of time, you become friends. Or like in the case of Biden and Harris, Biden's like a father figure. We all call him Uncle Joe. She probably looks at him like stepdad. I mean, not to say that he's just politically speaking. So when they hug on stage and it looks extremely intimate, it's not in a romantic way. It's like a, father-daughter kind of affectionate way where he's like, he's got his arm around her and he gave a little peck on the head. And then, but when you see Trump physically intimate and like invading a woman's personal space, it just usually looks
creepy.
Yeah, it looks gross the way he does it. But in the sense that, so there's this video of him hugging Laura Loomer with like his hand around her waist. And that is not a father figure type physical interaction. That's
But the thing is that it wasn't like somebody started a rumor. Everybody saw the same thing.
We all saw the same shit.
Because everybody was like, yo, what's up?
Yes.
Everybody at the same time
Yes.
was like, what is going on? So it's like, okay, I'm not crazy. Because then I see, 150 tweets with the same. I'm like, okay.
Right. That's why I wanted to give that caveat, because I was like, I don't always jump to that conclusion just because you see two people of the opposite sex in in each other's physical space. But this one just looked like what it looked like. That's what it. And again, you have to ask yourself, if you're familiar with the political landscape and you watch the news and you watch these rallies and all these TV shows and whatnot, you have to ask yourself, where the fuck is Melania?
Well, she's been saying how her privacy was invaded when the Mar-a-Lago was raided, and watch out, America. Like, she's been dropping little things.
That was 2 years ago.
It's like, Melania, nobody cares.
Could you imagine?
Nobody cares, child.
Could you imagine if it was 2020 and Biden is out on the campaign trail and his wife Jill is nowhere to be found? Do you know what kind of uproar the media would have about it? Would be like, Jill missing, like headlines just for weeks and months. And, at this point, she probably should be years, given the fact that we barely ever see Melania. But yeah, it's crazy that he gets to skate on fucking
considering
everything.
They think that Joe Biden is a body double. I mean, I really...
Well, Republicans do, but not... I mean, the media knows that Joe Biden is Joe Biden. But yeah, it's insane. I don't know what happened to Laura Loomer. Yeah, fair enough. But yeah, Laura Loomer got the boot, and she's probably not going to be able to work her way back in, especially after this terrible...
I would tread lightly, because I imagine that if she did get that close to Trump's hang low, then that girl loves to spill tea, and she's already... Lindsay, we all know you're gay. That took me out. I
don't want to out Lindsey Graham, but yes, there's a lot of strange behavior about Lindsey Graham that just never goes questioned. There are a lot of rumors floating around. It is a well-known, it's not even really it's an open secret at this point that, whatever you think about Lindsey Graham's sexuality is probably true. There are some more unfortunate rumors that I won't even mention on this podcast because I don't want YouTube to take the video down. By the way, if you're listening to our audio podcast, you can subscribe to our Pardon the Insurrection YouTube channel. It's Pardon the Insurrection. Just look that up. And if you're watching us on YouTube, hit that subscribe button and the like button and tell a friend. Also, so on 9/11, Trump did something utterly insane. I mean, obviously that's Trump's MO, but well, here, you can watch for yourselves. So that was a video of Trump defacing American flag, which is super ironic because just a couple of months ago, he said that if he were to be reelected president, then he would make it a federal crime. He'd make it a felony to deface an American flag. You'd have to go to prison for that. And then here he is destroying an American flag. It's quite sad how in every... It's
so gross. Like
every opportunity.
Just shitting. He shit over he shit on hallowed grounds at Arlington. He shit on the flag. He shits on our military. He shits on our... Like he just...
our veterans who gave our lives.
With diarrhea and who just is shitting all over everything, and then as soon as you clean it up, he shits right back over.
It's incredible. Again. Like you can't find anyone else on planet Earth who spends this much time saying shit about how terrible someone is, and then it obviously immediately applies to him thanks to his behavior. Like you just couldn't make this up. Oh, also, so we're approaching near the 6-month mark since the Truth Social stock was taken public, and Trump has like a lockout clause where for a certain period of time he's not able to sell stock until that time period is elapsed. Where we're nearing that point, and then Trump was asked by a reporter whether or not he would be selling his stock, and I'm sure the answer was likely a lie. Let's see for ourselves.
Shares are down about 75% from their peak in March. Your lockdown provision ends soon. Will you sell your shares?
No, I'm not selling. No, I love it. I mean, I use it as a method of getting out my word. When it opened, it went way high, but then the SEC gave us nothing but problems. We had to go through a long process with the SEC. But people think that I'm leaving. That's why they're down. Because if I leave, it's different if I leave. But I'm not leaving. I love it. I think it's great. Mechanically, it works the best. And again, I'm friendly with Elon, and Elon would love me to come over to X. But I just, I have close to 100 million people on X. I had 230 million people on X, and then they shut me down. And I said, I'm not going to let that happen again.
All right. So a couple things there. Since Truth Social stock launched publicly, I think it was trading at somewhere in the high 70s over the course of the past.
76, I think, was the high.
Yeah, mid 70s, I guess, over the course of the past 6 months, due to the fact that the company, I don't even know how it's functioning. It's losing millions of dollars every year, which is incredible.
Hundreds of millions of dollars.
Hundreds of millions of dollars, and which is incredible considering
no staff and no office.
Yeah, no staff, no office, no employees, no overhead. How's it losing hundreds of millions of dollars? No one knows. But that said, with the operating expenses being made public and its poor performance, we don't have time to go into this in super in depth, but it's since tanked from that 70-something dollar mark down to the mid-teens. And if it dipped below, I believe, $12 per share, that lockout clause would extend by another few months or so. So he'd be unable to sell shares for even longer. But after making these comments, I think it tipped back up from, I think, where it was at $17. It might have been in the $16 range somewhere.
It had gone down as low as 15 something. I didn't see change.
Well, after he made these comments, the Truth Social stock price jumped up like 10% or so. So I think it's at 18 to 19 bucks now.
He does know Elon.
Yes, he's familiar with Elon's work. You make these public statements about your company that could potentially affect the stock price, which, if our SEC was actually out here doing their jobs, they'd probably get him on that. And they might if Biden wins in November and gets to make another replacement.
Kamala.
Oh, yeah, I'm doing the same thing Trump's doing. Biden's not running. Kamala wins and replaces replaces a couple of people on the board. Maybe they'll look into this, especially if he does somehow manage to reach the end of this lockout period with the stock above $12 per share, and then he proceeds to sell shares of the stock, which, typically those comments could be looked at as an SEC violation, if not
stock manipulation.
Yeah, that's a federal crime. You can get charged for that. Again, in terms of new Trump charges, we're not going to get any more until after the election at the earliest. We'll worry about that on another episode of the podcast. But that being said, Trump does also have yet another scam in store. So you may not have missed this. He talked about this when he came to Nashville for the cryptocurrency convention. When he was on stage, he had mentioned something about possibly being involved in some kind of cryptocurrency. Well, he's announced basically a Trump branded cryptocurrency, where obviously there's no value in it. I mean, this is just it's like Sam Bankman fraud level shit, where he's going to have a large majority of the stock. And if this thing goes public and he sells all the shares, the value will tank and just the people who invested will go broke, which is, not uncommon in the crypto world. Sorry, crypto fans out there.
He'll just blame Haiti.
Yeah, they ate your Trump coin.
They ate your NFT.
Now, supposedly it's organized in such a way that once it launches, he won't be able to sell any of his shares of the digital currency. But, the way around that is if he ends up being president, he can sell all the shares he wants. Because who the fuck is going to do anything about it? I mean, the Supreme Court basically, you can't prosecute a president. Probably can't even get in the civil court while he's in office. And then obviously he's not leaving office until he dies if he wins another election. So, if you're looking forward to losing, your life savings, go ahead and put it in whatever fucking knockoff Bitcoin.
Well, if they put it all into Trump's crypto, Kamala can't tax it. The unrealized capital gains tax.
Yeah, look, man, he's been talking about deregulating cryptocurrency here for the past few months. And now you know why. It's because he's got his fingers in the cookie jar. Because, of course, he does.